The little spinny circle going, folks. You know what that means. It's time for another Money Moves, and hopefully you're getting some bonus stuff out of this information that we're spreading the wealth. Happy Thanksgiving. I don't know about you, Wendy, but I ate way too much as usual.
Always.
Yeah. Did you have a good time with your family?
Yes. I have my favorite dish. I had my two older boys with me, and yeah, it's a good chill time. I don't do a lot of the cooking, so I kind of like it.
Nice. Yeah, I guess that would be pretty good. I'm kind of the same way.
Unless you like cooking, right?
Yeah, I deep fried a turkey, and it was great, and got to see the kids and stuff like that. So it was fantastic. So, but today, folks, we're talking about, as we go into the end of the year and we're starting to look forward, and people are thinking about retirement, am I doing enough? And so Winnie and I were talking, and we're going to talk about that magical $1 million, and is it enough for your retirement? Maybe not. I don't know. I guess we'll find out here in a few seconds. So get ready. We're going to talk about that. Click that little subscribe button down below and forward to a friend or text a friend. Say, hey, they're going to talk about a magical million. Is it enough? In just a few seconds. So let's talk about it, Wendy. $1 million. What do you think? I know that was big numbers in the day. I remember talking, man, if I could just have $1 million.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, when I was a kid and my parents talked about having $1 million at retirement, like it was a good goal, right? Yep. It was kind of what everyone shot for. I don't think $1 million is really where it's at today. $1 million looks a lot different, and so the costs of things, and with inflation and all that, I feel like we need multiple millions to be comfortable.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nope.
No, I was going to say, it goes back to kind of the strategy of, it's not just about stacking cash, folks. I mean, you got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy. It doesn't matter how much you grow if you don't get to keep it. Taxes, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, all these different things play into it. And going back to your statement, $1 million. Yeah, if I had $1 million right now, like somebody just handed me $1 million, like, hey, here you go. Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. But is it going to be enough for what I want to retire? I mean, and like you said, things aren't cheap anymore. I mean, back when you were young, back in the 50s and 60s, $1 million was a lot of money, right? Not that sorry, I didn't mean it that way.
I didn't live in the 50s and 60s.
But that was a little joke, little turkey joke. I'm still, what do they call that when you have too much turkey? That ditoxicline, or I don't know what it is, but some kind of
turkey hangover.
Turkey hangover. Yeah. Food hangover. Anyway, you start looking at, what does it really mean? I mean, if you've got 20 years for retirement, right? $1 million today, which again is not $1 million, back when you were a kid, if you're watching this, or maybe it is if you're a kid watching this. But 20 years from now, based on inflation, that $1 million today is going to be about like $500,000 ballpark. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Okay. So $500,000 is like, well, I don't know. Is that good?
No. Yeah, it's so crazy, all the factors when you start to think about it, because when we think $1 million, we think $1 million sitting in the bank, right? Mm-hmm. But you have to account for how many years are you going to live in retirement. I know all the women in my family, all my grandmothers have lived, with the exception of one. The youngest was 88 when she died. The rest of them, grandmothers and great grandmothers, well into their 90s.
Yep.
Right. So if I retire, I mean, I have people, we sit down and do financial plans with people that say they want to retire at 55, mm-hmm. right? So I'm 43. So if I had retired at 60, I mean, I could have 30 years in retirement. There ain't no way $1 million lasts me 30 years, right?
Easily. Well, and it goes back to that factor. It's got to last you. It's got to, so the traditional advisors out there, and you all know how I feel about them. Some are good, don't get me wrong, but that whole strategy of, let's put your assets in, the market. We're going to grow them. You're going to ride the wave up and down. Don't look at it, because they don't want you to call them when it goes down. But they use a 4% model, and actually they use a newer model. I think it's 3.25. But we use the 4% models because it's easier math. But let's say you have $1 million and you're going to live off the interest. That's how they're going to ensure that you have the longevity and you never outlive your money, like Wendy's talking about, right? That's the big fear. Above death, outliving your money is number one. Well, let's do the math because numbers never lie, right? You look at 4% of $1 million is how much? $40,000, 40 grand. And most people, because they want to save on taxes, they put all their money in pre-tax. So that means they're paying taxes now as they pull it out. So that's 40,000 pre-tax, which will be a lower tax. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say when I'm in 20 years, what are the taxes gonna be? Shoot.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, in 20 years, that 4% is what? That's like 20 grand, and there goes the thing too. And that's what I was about to say is like, oh, you'll be in a lower tax bracket in retirement. Whatever, what our tax is going to be. I mean, ask yourself this, folks. The next 20 years, do you think income taxes in America are going to go down or go up? What do you think? So even if you do make or need less money, you'll probably still pay the same or even more in taxes because tax rates are going to go up. You see what the economy is doing, right? I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a tax advisor there. The attorneys, settle down. I made my disclaimer. But it's one of the things that, you look at really what's going on. And that's why it's so critical that you have a plan together, because $1 million, folks. Now I say that, but there's always the specific person and their needs, right? And if you're somebody who, and I like to look at retirement as how much do you want to have coming in income every month, right? In today's dollars, and you adjust for inflation. And that's going to give you an idea of how much you can expect from your income stream called your retirement nest egg. Okay. So you look at that and, a lot of people use what they're making today, but, think about it. Okay, well, if I do have my house paid off, I don't have to worry about that. If I'm okay not traveling, okay, I'll be okay, right? If I'm in relatively good health, which most people don't get healthier as they get older, they get in worse health, health issues, stuff like that. You have Medicare, but, let's be honest. Anyway, so there's things that, factor into that. I mean, you may be happy in a cabin in the woods that you've paid off, a little, 1,000 square foot house, 3-2 out in the woods somewhere that you've paid off, and be very simple. You garden and things like that. If that's you, yeah, you'll probably be okay. But if you're not, if you want to travel and see all the things you didn't get to see, go see the grandkids, I want an RV, do that whole lifestyle, $1 million isn't going to get it, at least for long.
Yeah, there's just so many things to factor in. And that's why, I didn't realize the importance until a few years ago of getting your own individual financial plan, looking at what are my goals? What kind of life do I want to live 20 years from now? Yeah. Right. My aunt, who's 65, maybe 66. I think she's not quite 66. Yeah. But one of my aunts, she goes to Disney with her kid, her grown kid, like every couple months, right? And they love to go out to fancy dinners, and she travels to Italy, and she goes to the Bahamas, and she's all over the place. Like so if you want that kind of life versus, like you said, somebody that just is like, nope, I'm going to move in with my kids, in the mother-in-law suite and not travel, they're two different things. So it's so important to have somebody that understands how inflation works, that understands how, your money can grow, how to protect it, to create that plan for you. Because we can't just guess our way into it. And I think that's what a lot of people are trying to do right now.
No, and you look at, what percentage of the population even actually achieve that amount, right? Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to be this, that, and the other. And they think they got so much time. And, it's like, oh, hey, I'm going to retire early. I'm going to retire at 60. And it's like, okay, number one, why? What the hell are you going to do? Watch the grass grow? No, you're going to go out and spend money. That's basically what it is. Because in retirement, folks, every day is a Saturday. That's how it works, right? So you can either have your Saturday out golfing, doing stuff, or this, that, or the other, or you're going to sit back and garden, which is fine too if that's your thing. But you've got to make sure you're planning accordingly and start asking yourselves that question now, even as young as in your 30s and 40s, not waiting till your 50s and 60s. Because once you cross that 50 mark, you're in what I call, for you football fans out there, you're in the red zone. Right. We've got, 10, 15 years until retirement ish. Right. And then, the first 5 to 10 years afterwards, you really have to focus on growth and protection. Right. And then taxation better be a part of your conversation. Because if not, you're going to look at it and go, oh, wow, the government just took so much of my money. and there's nothing you can do about it at that point. But really kind of deciding what you want your retirement to look like and start working towards that goal now, as opposed to just doing what most people do out in America, just kind of, oh, it'll all work out. I'm making good money. I'm always going to be making good money, and da 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 da. Well, the economies are changing. You've got AI coming on the scene. I mean, look how many, and for some of you boomers out there that watch this, and maybe some older Gen Xers, look how much manufacturing has been shifted offshore, right? All those jobs are gone.
Yeah.
Even a lot of the service jobs are disappearing now due to computerization and AI, right? You walk into McDonald's, I'm not going to lie. I love their little bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. So I'll go in there. And I was waiting in line because I like to use the person, right, to make sure people stayed employed. And they were so backed up because they only put one out there and there was a line. I'm like, forget this. I went over to the little kiosk and just entered my own order in and got my order before 5 of the people that I was behind in that line. And so they're manufacturing this. So all those service jobs are going to be taken away. I went to another drive-through. Sounds like I go to a lot of fast food. And it was one of those things, and I'm getting a little off track here, but they had AI taking my order at the drive-through window.
Really?
I was blown away by it. And there was even a sign, please be patient. We're teaching our AI how to take orders properly. And I was floored. All those are jobs going away. I know that McDonald's has a test store right now where there's literally nobody in the store working it. It's all automated. So you think of all those service jobs and things like that, which a lot of retirees do to supplement their income, may be gone.
Yeah.
So going back, and I'm bringing it back full circle now, you've got to understand what it's going to take. And in most cases, I don't think, unless you live out in the country and you're self-sufficient, I don't think $1 million is going to get it. Matter of fact, I know it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were reading an article earlier, but it says that the average retirement savings for the 65 to 74-year-old in the U.S. is only $426,000.
And that's today, right?
That was in 2019.
Yeah.
Might be less now.
Today's era. Well, that's the thing. I mean, because, okay, what happened during those period is inflation has jumped since 2019. You had COVID, you had the inflation things going on. And so cost of goods went up. So I bet they do have less now because they had to spend more than they had planned on. And that's why it's so critical to have a good plan in place.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys want a plan for yourselves, just drop wealth in the comments and we can get with you and schedule a time for your personal financial plan. But I think it's important. It's important to know where you are, where you want to go, and have a map to get there.
Yep. And a couple little takeaways. So, okay, John, $1 million's not going to be enough. What the hell do I do then? So number one, know where you're going. Okay. Meaning know what kind of retirement you want to have a destination on your retirement map, if you will, and look at it not so much from a pile of cash, but what income stream can be created from that pile of cash. That's how you got to look at it, as an income stream. Number two is, what are you going to do to supplement that retirement? Okay. You got Social Security, maybe. And then what else are you going to be doing? Are you going to work a little bit? What are you going to do and things like that? And how long are you going to do that? Number three, and there's some gurus out there talk about paying your house off early, blah, blah. I'm not a fan of that, especially with so many people having, 2.5%, 3.5%, 4% mortgages out there. I am a fan of paying it off, timing it with retirement, going to retirement debt-free and home debt-free, right? You're mortgage-free, okay? Because that's going to make a huge difference. Avoid retiring while you have debt, if at all possible. And make sure you've got your money in protected asset classes, folks, because that's going to be able to bump from that 3.5%, 4% to 6.5%, 7% as far as an income stream. So it's going to be more money for you. And then lastly, make sure your tax strategy is diversified. Don't have just everything in pre-tax, because I'm telling you, taxes will go up. So even if you're using less money, you're probably going to pay the same or more in actual tax dollars taken out of your pocket. So take that for what it's worth, folks. Hopefully that helped you out. If you got some value out of this, click that little link, that love button down below. Love button, that sounded weird. The little like button, and share our video on Facebook, social media, whatever platform you're using. We appreciate it. It helps our algorithms out. And if you've got a topic that you want to hear, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll get you on there, maybe even have you as a guest on our show. All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you next week on another Money Moves. Bye.